Hello everybody, I hope you're having a lovely day today. I am here today, solo today, so without the rest of the gang, just for a little bit of a tea and a chat and a catch up of what's been happening in the Sew Over It world. So the last time we did one of these was me and Jemima sat down in very different temperatures. We sat down in July to do our last tea and a chat, and I just had a look. We were wearing lovely Courtney jumpsuits, the sunshine was out. It's definitely a different vibe today. We're gonna go, I'll be talking through all those summer months and looking forward to all the winter months as well. So we'll be chatting through, if you haven't seen one of these, what we basically do is chat through what's been going on in the Sew Over It world, and what is to come in the Sew Over It world as well. So you can see if there's anything you've missed, or just sit down and have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee with me. That'd be quite nice. I quite enjoy the thought of you guys sat down and just having a rest whilst we have a catch up as well. Definitely down for that. So as I said, the last one that we did was in July, and we had just released our Courtney jumpsuit, which I think is one of my very favourite jumpsuits. I love that princess seam fitted bodice. I love the two different styles. It's gone too cold now, but I cannot wait for it to warm up for next year to make myself another one. But the first thing I've got to talk about is our next pattern of the summer that came out in July, so it must have come out very soon after the tea and a chat that we did in July, which was the Mallory dress. And the Mallory dress was our sun dress of the year, really, of 2025. I really like finding things that you can do in a pattern that will be a little bit different from what you find in the shops, but also, because I'm a little sewing geek, I really like the idea that you can find something that's really interesting to sew as well. And that is what Mallory has kind of in spades, because she's got this gorgeous detail in the bodice with a centre front dart, sort of. It's a Y-shaped dart, it's called. So you've got a seam that comes up the bodice, up the centre front, and then the dart itself, instead of coming in from the side, comes in from that centre front and out like this. And it just makes for a really interesting bodice. Aside from that detail, she's got a gorgeous pleated skirt, fully lined bodice. It's a strappy dress, but the straps are part of the bodice, I like. So that's one of those tiny little things that I get immense satisfaction from when you've got a print and it just carries on up the strap. One of those little things that probably no one in the wider world will notice, but you'll notice as if you've got like maybe a little flower that runs along the neckline and it's not interrupted as it goes into the strap. Really cute. And also there is an option for a shirred back for sort of easy fitting, slightly looser fit, which is often nice when it's really warm as well. Or you can make it with a fitted back, so not shirred, and it has a side zip to get into. So I've got one version of each. And the shirred back definitely has more kind of sundress, easygoing vibes, chuck it on for a hot day. And the one with the zip is a little bit more fitted, just simply because you haven't got the elastic in the back. So there's less sort of variation on the fit. It is what it is. And that's a little bit more fitted. It's in a viscose, and I think, although it is the same, I can chuck it on for everyday wear. Just the fact that it's a bit more fitted just makes it a little bit fancier. So it'd be perfect, I think, for like a summer wedding or something like that, or just any day when you want to dress up a little bit. So yeah, Mallory was a real hit, and we were so pleased with the reception to her. I think jumpsuits I love, but I understand they are not everyone's cup of tea, whereas a sundress I think can pique everyone's interest a little bit, and it just works perfectly with all those gorgeous fabrics that you can get in the summer with like florals or ginghams, or I made a version with stripes as well, because then you can see really clearly on the bodice where those lines are. So this Y-shaped dart is always going to interrupt your print, but you can use that to your advantage. So I did a version with stripes, and then that meant that those stripes pivoted round in this section here, and it just really showed off the feature at the front, which I really loved. So yes, Mallory was great. We did some extra tutorials on Stitch School as well. So there was a full and small bust adjustment, because it's not a head scratcher, but it definitely takes a bit of thinking around to work out how you're going to do those bust adjustments on a non-standard bodice. And then I also did a tutorial on how to sew that Y-shaped dart as well, which is not as tricky as you think. One of those things where you've just got to have faith that what we are telling you is the right thing to do. So sometimes in sewing instructions, I know it doesn't feel like you're going in the right direction, but please have faith. We thought about it, and if you just follow the steps one by one, maybe for the first time you do something, you can't really visualize the outcome. I understand that's quite tricky to do. I get stuck on that sort of thing. But you just have to have faith, and with the Mallory dart, have faith and you will have the most beautiful dress afterwards. So after Mallory, I was having a look through our calendar, because in August we didn't have a pattern release, but we had other things. We've had kits going on, we've had various Stitch School stuff going on, and we did have our finale of Betty Club. So if you haven't seen our Betty Club series, myself and Elma, Chloe and Jemima, the whole gang, we all made a Betty dress. And this started when we released the Betty workshop on Stitch School, which was early this year. So we've been taking our sweet time, and that's been quite nice, and some people's plans have changed, some people have stuck to their vision. We used the Betty add-on pack as well, so we've got different necklines, different sleeves. Alma of course went like even further with it and did 2 versions, I think, I'm remembering off the top of my head now. But some Carrie Bradshaw inspired work from Sex and the City, so there's so much, and I love the complete diversity of dresses that we've come out with from just one pattern. And what I really love is that all of them, if you look at them, they suit each of us so well in the style and the fabric choice and how we want to wear them. And I just love that all came from one place and we all went boom, 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 boom. And I think that just sums up sewing really, doesn't it? In that you can just have a base pattern and run with it. So have a little look at Betty Club. There's lots of chat about fitting as well. So we're all different shapes and sizes and we all do different things for fitting. So it can be really interesting even if you don't kind of identify with a particular shape that one of us is on the team. I think it's quite interesting to see people's thought process about how they fit stuff. Because then that helps you when you're stood in front of a mirror being like, okay, something's wrong, but I don't know what it is. But if you can have a think about how other people's cogs are wearing, that can help you then face your sort of fitting queries that you might have. Or at least just give you a bit of confidence to just go, do you know what, sod it, I'm going to pinch this out, I'm going to pin this, I'm going to see what happens. So definitely check out some Betty Club action. I'm looking over to my sneaky notebook I've got on the side. Next up was a old pattern revival, a extended size range and a Stitch School combo all in one, which was the introduction of the Hazel Trousers. So the Hazel Trousers were originally the Ultimate Culottes, which have been a sew over it pattern for almost 10 years. I can't remember when they came into the world. They were definitely a sew over it class, and then I think maybe I want to say 2017-ish, 2018-ish they came out as a PDF pattern. Always been one of our most popular patterns. So culotte trousers, culottes, with either a waistband or a facing. Really nice, easy to sew, easy to wear pair of culottes. We've had a lot of people talk about turning them into trousers, so full length trousers, into a kind of palazzo pant vibe. And we quite often go back into the archives and look at our patterns, and we're constantly thinking about, okay, which pattern are we next going to grade up to our full size range, because obviously we still have some that are only in our 8 to 20 size range, and we want to bring them into the world of the 6 to 30 size range. And we are committed to periodically doing that. We're doing that at least a couple of times every year. We will get through them all. It's just a big job. But what we can then do, because we're focusing on that, is give a pattern a bit of love and maybe see if there's something we can add to it to add a bit more value to it. Maybe there's something, this is where Stitch School gets involved as well, so we can plan a workshop around it and really give loads of love and attention to a pattern. And that's definitely what we did to the Ultimate Culottes when we changed them into the Hazel Trousers. They had to have a name change because they weren't just culottes anymore, so Hazel seemed to fit very well. So with Hazel, we added the full length, so you've now got the choice of culottes, culotte length, full length, waistband or facing. And we also filmed a Stitch School workshop which has got alterations on full and flat bum alterations, choices about fabrics. Oh, and it's got hack to put in, because there's no pockets in the original pattern, to put in slanted pockets, which I know Alma had done on a pair previously and it just worked perfectly, so we were like, yes, we can definitely include that for the pocket people out there. And also, of course, it was graded to our full size range, and we got the lovely Zoe to model it as well. And I just love them. You'll have seen probably a pair of mine in a black and white fabric Godmother viscose crepe. They are just so decadent. I really, really like them. And I think, they're huge, the trousers, in the best way. Part of me thinks you could get away with a wool, maybe a wool crepe for winter weather. That might be quite fun. I think the only stipulation is I wouldn't want to wear them on a day when it was wet, because I am of the generation that wore quite wide leg jeans when I was a teenager, and I remember the amount of water they would suck up from the floor, and that wasn't pleasant. But on a dry winter day with very glamorous wool crepe wide trousers with boots on underneath, I think they could also work for colder weather as well. So yeah, Hazel came in, and Hazel, I think, was it felt like people had been waiting for Hazel a little bit, which is really nice. I'm gonna have a sip of coffee. Usually there's someone else doing this with me and I can have sips of my coffee when they're talking. Now it's just me, so bear with me whilst I do that. But yes, Hazel was again really well received, which is very, very nice, and I think she was a fantastic addition to Stitch School, because we say it's a beginner pair of trousers, but there are like some key skills, sort of like putting in an invisible zip, or if you want slanted pockets, dealing with waistbands, facings, belt loops. There's loads of things in there that you might come a little bit unstuck on if you're not feeling super confident about sewing up a pattern. So obviously you've got someone holding your hand throughout, and it's got a lot of tips for general trouser construction, because I know when I first looked at making a pair of trousers, just even the shapes I didn't quite get, like how that shape becomes this and that becomes a leg, this, that and the other. So it's definitely a really good one for if you're starting out in trousers. But as with all Stitch School stuff, if you just like to have someone there whilst you're sewing, I know a lot of us sew on our own, sort of a weekend, if you like to have someone there in the sewing room with you, can listen to me chat whilst you sew, if that's your thing, then that's quite nice. And it can just almost give you a bit of accountability, can't it, to be like, right, I'm going to get to this step, I'm going to watch these next 2 tutorials or these next 2 videos to get me to the next step, and by the end you've got a lovely pair of trousers. So that was Hazel. I'm going to skip ahead to, because the ebook was the next thing that happened, but I feel like that's a huge topic, so I'll maybe talk about that in a little bit. The other sort of releases, patterns and Stitch School that we've had, so fairly recently we released the Antonia Dress, and because of the way things are like structured with photo shoots and planning and things like that, we actually photographed the Antonia Dress in May, so it's felt like it's been sitting there, it's been sitting in our office so ready to be released for almost 6 months. May, June, July, August, September, October, November, for 6 months. And I just love her. She feels Antonia's classic tea dress bodice, so you've got sort of bust panels and then you've got a panel underneath that's this sort of shape. And then it's got 2 skirts, a sort of midi length gathered skirt or a mini tiered gathered skirt, which works really well in like fabrics that have a bit more structure, and it's quite poofy, very cute. Gathers in the sleeve, gathers at the cuff, and then a nice big cuff, but it's not got a cuff binding, it opens up into the underarm seam, which means that cuff's actually really easy to put on. So if you've ever sewn a pussy bow blouse, it's the same way that cuff opens. And she's such a classic. It's been so long since we've made a tea dress pattern, potentially since the 1940s tea dress, which again is going to be like 12 years old. So it was so nice to bring an update We thought at this time of year it's perfect to have a little party dress, which she totally is. The longer length is, well, it depends what fabric you make it in. My version, my longer length, she is classy and I feel very grown up in her, and she's perfect for work, and she's perfect for work things where I need to be really smart. The shorter length is party. It's just like full party and I love it. Again, if you chose a drapier fabric, the skirt and the sleeves wouldn't sort of hold their shape as much, but it would be lovely in a soft way, so you could kind of go down that route. But really lovely. And oh, I forgot actually, there's one thing for Antonia and for Mallory that we did, is we introduced them to our core range of paper patterns, because we now have our paper patterns back, which I'm very pleased about. So we now, at time of recording, have 10 paper patterns in our core range. In the adults range, we also have Poppy and Jazz, the kids range, because we also introduced Amy, which is the shirt pattern that we released in March, I want to say this year, earlier this year. So if you are a paper pattern fan over a PDF pattern fan, or if you like think, we often think paper patterns are really great for gifts. It's quite hard to say if you like, oh, I want to, if you say so nicely to your partner or friends or family, I really want a gift from Sew Over It. First of all, thank you, that's lovely. But paper patterns are such a nice thing for people to give you. So they're there for gifts, they're there for if you prepare paper patterns and aren't interested in the digital side of things. We only want our paper pattern arm to get bigger. You'll just have to give us a little bit of time while we extend it, and get all of our favourites on that list. But I promise you, more will be coming. And if there are any patterns that you're like, I would kill to have this in a paper pattern, let us know, because we'll only be influenced by what people want, and we want to give you what you want, so do let us know. And then our latest extravaganza has been a bit of a focus on the Hettie dress. Hettie is a little trapeze dress. The gather sleeves gathers into an elasticated cuff, and she's got a big pleat down the centre front, and she ties behind the back, and she is cute. And we introduced her to Stitch School with a lovely Stitch School workshop that's all on sewing up Hettie, and then we talked through the fabrics, we talked through FBAs and SBAs, because with the pleat and the trapeze shape, it's not super clear on where to start that, but don't worry, we've done all the work for you. And also talk a lot about sort of when and when it isn't necessary and stuff, so there's a lot of chat, a lot of boob chat. You know I like a lot of boob chat. There's a lot of that in the Hettie class, and also information on how to raise the neckline and lengthen the skirt, because she has got a nice sort of scoopy neckline, and she is a little short dress, she's a mini dress, so if you want either of those to be higher or longer, there's information on how to do that too. And of course, like anything that joins Stitch School, anyone that is a premium subscriber of Stitch School just gets that sitting in their account. So that is obviously the bonus of being a Stitch School member, is that things are going to be popping up all the time and you just get access, which is great. So yes, we had a bit of a Hettie extravaganza. We had a bit of a party dress extravaganza. It's felt like November has been full party dress with Antonia, and then we did a vlog with our favourite party dresses. So we had a Betty, Estelle, Hettie and Antonia in that, and shocker, I was the only one not wearing black, so that has to be seen to be believed. Go and check that out. And then we had Hettie class, gorgeous Hettie kits, and I was going to say something else, but it's completely gone. Oh, we did have some, we had Estelle kits and gorgeous Georgie kits as well. Georgie's a bit of an unsung hero in my eyes. So have a little look, there's always kits popping up. So, if you're still here, hi, I'm going to have another sip of coffee. The biggest thing, obviously this year for us, was the ebook. And I am so pleased to say that people seem to really like it. It's a big deal in the Sew Over It world. So we do these ebooks every It has been every 2 years, but this one was 3 years. There's been things going, obviously there's been a lot of changes with me taking over from Lisa and general things going on, so we weren't able to do it last year, but I really wanted to make it work to do it this year, and we did, and I'm so pleased, and I'm so incredibly pleased with how it's come out. I think it's very hard because a lot of it was in my head, and as much as you can put things on paper and start sewing up samples, it doesn't quite come together until the photo shoot. And it turned out our photo shoot we had fairly late on in the process, maybe about a month before it was released. So I felt it was only after the photo shoot that then sort of everyone in the office was like, yeah, we got the vision, we've got it, we are here, this is great. There was, obviously we were all on board before, but it's very hard to get it out of there into other people's heads for anything, and then to see people when it's released have that same realization of, oh yes, we see it's this lovely collection. So it's 6 patterns of a sort of capsule wardrobe style collection, and it is called the Everyday Edit because these are patterns that I would wear every single day and I would love other people to wear every day. So it's that classic pair of trousers that looks smart but it's actually super comfy as well, and you can make casual or really smart. A gorgeous blouse which you could make in sort of really easy crepe, or you could spend money on it and make it out of silk and it'll look sort of as beautifully expensive either way. Astrid, the jersey wrap top, which is, I would say, my most worn pattern, or it's the one that I've made the most since the ebook came out, I think, because it's so quick. But I love it, I love the cut of it, I love the shape of it, and it goes perfectly with the trousers, which I think is my other favourite maybe. And then we've got the Farley shacket, which is just perfect for throwing on, and it is the best cover. So I've got a pink one, I've also got a black and white one. I have to say the black and white one I wear non-stop. And then the opal coat, 1, 2, 3, I feel like this is the opal coat's the last one, I might have missed one, which today, at time of recording, it's finally got cold enough for me to wear the opal coat, and I am ditching my other coat and I'm wearing the opal coat home, and I am so excited to get it on because it looks so cool. It's got these kind of slightly oversized lapels, but not like, it's been thought about, they're not huge, they've just got that slight oversize, nice big pockets. Chuck it on. Mine are in boiled wool, so cozy, but so cool as well. I think it's that effortless cool. I wanted to create a collection of things that you don't have to think about too much, you just chuck it on and you're like, yep, I'm good to go. But that ebook, sort of if we're thinking behind the scenes, it has been in the works for a good year, and it's so much, I cannot underestimate, I cannot display how much work it is, but in the best possible way. I absolutely adored creating it, seeing it all to come together. We've been working with Minerva and they gave us all of the fabric, and being able to choose from their collection was such a treat. So it's a huge effort on everyone's part. If you think that we're usually producing one pattern at a time, or, you know, one kit at a time, obviously there's always a million other things going on at the background, but in terms of releasing, it's usually one thing at a time, and this is 6. So it is huge, and there's a huge thanks to go to all of the team and everyone involved. So it's not just us 4, it's pattern cutters, it's graders, it's illustrators, it's so much more, and it was an incredible effort to get that done and get that out. And we worked with our lovely photographer, so you might remember, I think the vintage streaming we went and had a photo shoot in Bath, like a stately home, that's a bit bold, a big house in Bath. Previously, Lisa had gone to India. Our locations for this glamorous shoot were Peckham and Southwark Park, and they did us proud. And I just think you can wear these things in the fanciest of places, but you can also wear them in Bermondsey and Southwark Park and you'll still look as nice. So that fits with the vibe of the ebook. So yeah, go and check it out if you haven't already. I've also been doing some vlogs on things I've been making called the Rosie Edit, and the last one I did was very heavily ebook influenced, and there'll be more to come on that as well. So if you want to see some makes that aren't just the photo shoot, the ones we made for the photo shoots, like the ones I've been wearing in real life that I have a bit more of a review on because I'm wearing them every day, then please do go check that out. So then thinking forward to what we've got coming, so we've got a little bit of 2025 left, and then we're looking into spring. So behind the scenes at the moment, we are preparing for one last photo shoot. Bit of a glutton for punishment. I booked in one last photo shoot before the end of the year, right before Christmas, but that's with the view that we get so much done this side of Christmas that we can make spring a lot easier for ourselves. So it's either the choice, you know, when you've got to do something hard work just before your holiday, or you've got to have your holiday and think you've got to do it as soon as you get back. I would always rather get it out of the way, and I think the other guys are the same too. So we're pushing through one last shoot before Christmas, and that is going to cover, looking, I've got them all on the wall over there, 5 exciting things in the new year, and we'll probably take photos of lots of other stuff as well, but 5 big things to come. So we have got a gorgeous pattern for January that is going to be, I really think it's going to be an essential in a lot of people's lives. It's definitely going to be essential in mine. It's so quick to make, and it's the sort of thing that is going to unleash so many outfits in your wardrobe. You've got things waiting that are sat there waiting to have this pattern put with it, and it'll go boom, amazing. It is gonna, I think it's gonna be a winner, definitely in my wardrobe, and I'm very, very excited for that to come out. And we are also going to have some sew-alongs. I'm going to do some sew-alongs on YouTube. So at the moment I'm planning to do a sew-along for that January pattern for YouTube. Actually, skip back a bit, there's going to be another sew-along popping up on YouTube before Christmas as well, because we feel like it's been a while since it's been on one on YouTube. So that would be nice. And then thinking spring, we will have another pattern coming onto Stitch School as well, and for the first time in a little while it will be something brand new for Stitch School people. So there will not be any chance that you have this pattern already, because I understand that we've been going a while, so some patterns that are added to Stitch School you might already have bought in the past. But this one is brand spanking new and will come with a class along with it as well. So definitely worth hanging on if you're a Stitch School subscriber for that. There's going to be more Stitch School stuff, there's going to be more brand new patterns. I'm not going to promise X amount of patterns or X amount of this. Obviously, with the economy the way it is at the moment, we definitely have to roll with what's going on. So I'm not going to say we are 100% doing X, Y, Z, because things change. We've got to adapt to what we're doing week by week, really. But we have got exciting things planned. At least 5 new things being shot in December for the spring and running up to the summer. Already got some exciting summer things in here that need to get out. And the other thing to say is obviously that we have our Black Friday sale, which should be on when this vlog initially comes out, and we have our Christmas sale coming up as well. And you know, we always have little promotions popping up, so there's always something exciting coming. There's always a little promotion, some kits, maybe a little something special on Stitch School, things like that. Those are all hanging about, and I think you probably will have heard from a lot of businesses at the moment that it is tough out there, and I'm not gonna lie, it really is. And it's great to anyone that is hanging on in here like we are. It is, I think, a credit to everyone's hard work, and it is a credit to all the lovely customers that we have. But this is just a little message to say that maybe if you do have the odd 15 or 30 pounds, you know, 20, 30 pounds that isn't earmarked for something, that is earmarked for you, maybe earmarked for you for a little treat, then do spend it on a small business. We would prefer that it goes to, obviously we prefer that it goes to us, we would prefer that it goes to us or any of our small business friends, to be honest, over someone like Amazon or your kind of big hitters, because this is the sort of environment at the moment where you spend your money definitely speaks. It is a real value to anyone that you spend money with in the small business world. And I just think it's an incredible blessing that we have such a wonderful group of customers, and each and every one of us on the Sew Over It team, and everyone that we work with, and sort of everyone essentially that I'm paying invoices for from Sew Over It, benefits from you guys and your massive generosity and your interest in our patterns. So maybe do have a think about any patterns that you'd like, but also as well, we do not sell everything in the sewing world. There are so many small businesses that will appreciate the tiniest bits of support, especially over this season, sort of around the Black Friday sales, Christmas, winter sales, things like that, gift giving season. Think about maybe if you would like gift vouchers from anyone as well. That's a really good way of helping businesses out in the Christmas season. It seems often that businesses are very, very busy over Christmas. It's not always the case, because a lot of people are saving money for Christmas food, Christmas holidays, things like that, as you absolutely should be. But if you just have that spare little bit of something and you see something that you like from a small business, I would say go for it, because they will be so appreciative. But anyway, hopefully we will have lots of fun things to spark your interest anyway, aside from my rambling, over the next few months. I probably won't be back with a tea and a chat until 2026 actually, but I will be back with the official Queen's Speech. I'm sticking with Queen's Speech, I'm not going for King's Speech, which usually comes out on New Year's Day. So that'll be a huge recap of the year and what's going to come up in 2026. And we'll be back with some more team vlogs as well, and lots more YouTube stuff that I haven't written down on my list. But I think that's a little bit of a recap since the last tea and a chat. I didn't get to have much of my coffee. I think I definitely need someone with me next time so I can drink more coffee. It's a perk of having someone here. But otherwise, let us know what you're thinking in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think of our last releases. If you've got any guesses about what might be coming in the new year, that would be really fab. Or in general, like, what are you sewing? What are you interested in at the moment? Are there any things you're wanting for gifts that you can pass on to someone else? And any other sewing gossip you have, really. This is what I'm in the market for. Thank you for sticking around if you're still here. This was a mammoth one. I appreciate the effort, and I will see you very soon. Bye.